Coming up this week, elephants, Iceland, and a splash of heavy metal, African style. And welcome to the Travel Show with me, Krista Larwood. Well, if you've been watching last week, you would have seen Addie in Venice on the very first overseas travel show trip we've been able to do in a really long time. Hopefully, we'll all be back out on the road sometime soon. But in the meantime, here are some more of our favourite travel show stories from the archive. They might even inspire your next trip, wherever that might be. Well, I'm not going to lie, working on the travel show is a pretty sweet deal. Not only do we get to travel the world, see amazing places, but we also, from time to time, get to meet truly inspirational people. And that's the focus of this week's programme. Including the man whose family have pretty much dedicated their life to Iceland's enormous, imposing glaciers, but who is now charting their decline. But let's kick off with a woman who has a different life's mission, to help sick and injured elephants in Thailand. And a few years ago, Henry went to meet her.
And when it was opened in 1993, this was the world's first elephant hospital. And since then, they've treated over 4,000 elephants. I'm here to meet some of them.
The hospital aims to provide care for any sick or injured elephant in Thailand.
What kind of patients do you have?
We have all kinds of illnesses, sicknesses, knife wounds, gunshot wounds. Some have diarrhea, constipation, cataract. Some had serious like cancer, and tumor. The most difficult case are the victims of landmines.
Why you smell that? It's very friendly.
This one belongs to Motala, the old one, and that's Mocha, because she's growing up. She's still young.
Oh, that's true. So every so often you have to.
Yeah, soft
get a new one,
inside.
get a taller.
Right.
Sarida started the hospital after seeing elephants die because there was nowhere to treat them.
So I told myself, okay, that's it. If no one is going to do it, I'm going to do it myself. There should be a place where elephants can be treated because there's no elephant hospital.
The hospital is funded by donations and treatment is provided for free.
Yeah. After medicine, get treaties.
Tourists can come here to see the elephants in their recuperation areas, but there are none of the shows and rides you might find at elephant camps elsewhere in Thailand. Some have called for a ban on using these revered animals in the tourist industry, but Sarida tells me that could also create problems.
To ban them, then we have to have the solution. Where would these elephants be? You can't take 4,500 elephants back into the wild. How are we going to keep them, in a natural surroundings and in a way to earn some money, in order to treat them well?
It's amazing to see elephants like these that would have otherwise have died in the wild actually thrive here in the hospital. And spending time with Sarida and learning the ins and outs of what goes on here has been an absolutely amazing experience that I won't forget anytime soon.
My name is Andrei Magnason. I'm a writer. I live in Iceland. I have written children's books, poetry, plays, science fiction and non-fiction. My grandparents were founding partners of the Icelandic Glacial Research Society, and they went on a glacial honeymoon in 1956 for 3 weeks.
So these are your grandparents?
This is my grandparents. This is Iceland's highest peak. This is 2,119 meters. And
Grandma's not even wearing a coat, is she?
no, it's good weather there.
So I slightly interrupted you. Can I help you hang these up?
Yeah, please help me. So I'm kind of choosing what photos I would like to use in my book.
I'll pop this one up here. Andre, how does looking at these photos make you feel?
Well, they've always made me feel, nostalgic, proud. But they're also a slice section of time. That is, this is the first generation that was able to enjoy glaciers. And we only have 3 generations that will live that period. So then the glaciers will go, and after 300 years, these photos will be totally alien to that generation, especially in Iceland, when the ice has left Iceland.
When the ice has left Iceland. Andre wanted to take me somewhere to show me just how quickly the landscape is changing. About 10% of Iceland is covered in glaciers, but glaciologists now believe that all of Iceland's glaciers will be gone in just 200 years. 5 years ago, when Ok Glacier was no longer heavy enough to lift itself up and move, it was declared dead. The amount of ice here has decreased dramatically. Researchers from Rice University in America recently drew attention to the loss. They approached Andre to write the inscription for the plaque commemorating the dead glacier.
It's a strange situation because how do you memorize the sky or something? It's like something big, firm, eternal. And so here it says, a letter to the future. Ok is the first Icelandic glacier to lose its status as a glacier. In the next 200 years, all our glaciers are expected to follow the same path. This monument is to acknowledge that we know what is happening and what needs to be done. Only you know if we did it. August 2019, 415 parts per million of CO2. That's the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere and actually the cause of the melting glacier. And that is rising about 2 to 3 ppm every year.
Cat there with a man who's helping to memorialise Iceland's disappearing glaciers. Up next, back in 2018, Lucy visited Johannesburg to meet a very special lady who played a crucial role in South Africa's history, from her kitchen, by cooking for Nelson Mandela.
Hi, really nice to meet you. I have heard amazing things about your talents as a chef, so talk to me. What are you going to make for us today?
I'm making the simplest meal that you have ever had in your life. It's called creamery meal. In our language, it's called umpokoto. The one that Mr. Mandela used to love and to eat. And he cannot go a single week without eating this.
Yeah, he had to have this meal every week.
Yes. Well, how I do this, I've got creamery meal, and I've got maize meal, and then this is a sour milk. It has to be sour for him in so much that when you talk about it and when he eats it, he must feel it in his mouth. So with water and salt, that is all. That's how simple it is.
Very simple. That's my kind of meal.
I've got boiled water, then I have salt.
So it's called umpokwa. Am I saying that right? I can't say I'm just gonna nod.
Okay.
Tell me what it was like cooking for Mandela, just in general.
Wow, at the beginning I felt intimidated because I was going to cook for this. Now when I had to meet him the first time, I was shaking, I must say it, I was shaking and I was shivering.
I bet you were.
But he was so warm to me when he received me in his house. He stood up for me and then he shook my hand and then he asked me he said to me, I know you are a great cook.
Yeah.
But can you cook our own home food? That's when I said yes. I didn't even hesitate because I knew that now this is my job. And then I got the job immediately.
Yes.
So apparently when he went to London, we don't send him with food that we know. Wherever he goes, in any country. But that particular year, that day, that week, he just decided he's not going to eat. He just got a craving for his own home food while they were there already. And then I got a call that's calling, we know that you are off, you are home. Can you please go back to Joburg? And I had to cook this simplest dish for him. And what I did, me and my colleagues, we had to wrap it up nicely. It looked like a present. And then when we sent it to him, we had to write the president's medication. And then after that, I was called that I smuggled food to London.
Yeah.
So that's what is important about it.
He smuggled his favourite dish into the UK.
Yes. The meal is about to be ready.
Is he doing what I'm doing now?
I can
Would he
smell
hover?
Pokoko, and then Pokoko is coming.
I'm going to try it. Come on, it was one of Mandela's favourite meals. I've got to give it a try.
Yeah.
That's quite yummy. I can see why he liked it. I'm talking with my mouth full.
Still to come on the travel show. We've got the Californian sculptor who cooked up his own masterpiece in the kitchen.
I literally microwaved a microwave while it was microwaving. I'm the only one in human history that's ever successfully pulled off this accomplishment.
And Addie learns to headbang Botswana style.
Have it.
So, see you after the break. Around this time last year, we sent Mike off to Dalian in Turkey to meet an incredible woman who's spent the past 30 years doing her bit for conservation. She's become a bit of a local celebrity, and she's a great lesson that it's never too late because she's in her 90s.
Welcome to Tuzu Beach here, just a few kilometers away from the sleepy little beach town of Dalian here in Turkey. 30 years ago, no one really knew about the beach, but 30 years ago, they also weren't paying much attention to what was happening underneath the sands. This is one of the most important nesting sites for Europe's population of endangered loggerhead turtles. Every summer, thousands of hatchlings push their way up onto the beach and crawl down into the ocean. That's still the case largely because of the work of this woman. June Haymoff, who's now 96, stopped a hotel development in the late 80s that would have spelled total destruction for the breeding grounds. She's devoted the last 3 decades of her life to the turtles, winning Turkish citizenship and an MBE along the way.
The government had a plan to develop this for tourism, and it included, not only included, a vital part of it was a road down the middle of the beach. I spoke up, said please don't put a road, and I was helped. I didn't do it alone. Some said I was mad, others said I was a spy.
Spy?
A spy for Greece. It's true. It sounds funny to us, but that was actually written in a newspaper at that time.
And what's happening here now? What's the situation like?
Very good. The government here respects and knows about this beach. It's under protection. No one can come here at night and start flashing lights around and looking for the turtles or digging up nests, because there would be curious people who would like to do that.
But it would take a lot of fire in your heart to put all that energy and time into saving these turtles.
I do have some fire in my heart.
I can tell.
I've still got it.
I can tell. Well, I think if turtles could erect statues, there'd be one of you just right over there, right off the coast, built by loggerhead turtles.
It's interesting what you say, because in the village, they planned some kind of an edifice to me, I think, in Dalian village. I said I'd rather have it at the beach if they do one. And could they please, you know, not make it too big or grand.
Not you riding a turtle or anything like that, because that's not allowed.
Well, actually, now that you mention it, that wouldn't displease me. No.
In Turkey with June Heimoff there, 97 years old this year and still going strong. Well, up next, surely this has to be one of the most creative and unconventional people we've ever had on the show. Back in 2016, Rajan visited Palm Springs and met a man who could create amazing artworks out of practically anything.
Wow, look at that. That is astonishing.
Welcome to the wacky world of Kenny Ingram Jr. An artist whose work is now luring sightseers away from Frank Sinatra's old house around the corner to see this fantastical creation instead.
I've been working on my art for, well, I would say at least the last 4 decades since I've been living, breathing.
Really?
Yeah, I was just born an artist.
On these 4 acres of land, Kenny has used 1,000 tons of recycled stuff to create 350 works of art so far.
Here's a hockey bot.
And what's that?
It's made out of refrigerators.
Made out of refrigerators?
Yeah. Right there's the Robo-Bear. It's made out of an air conditioning compressor. And that's Santa's battle wagon up there.
That is astonishing.
This is the Mongolian Easter Bunny's mobile throne.
I'm just reading this. This is one of the world's only 2 microwaved microwaves.
That is correct. This is a genuine microwave. That I literally microwaved a microwave while it was microwaving. I'm the only one in human history that's ever successfully pulled off this accomplishment.
Where do you think this fits in, or you fit in even, to contemporary America?
I don't know where it could fit in. I don't think it fits in anywhere really to speak of. How we got men on the moon and how we'll get men on Mars or people on Mars isn't going to happen by how things fit in with other things. It's going to happen by how things that have never been done before is how it's going to happen.
I actually physically can't get in.
Of course you can fit in there. You're not that big.
I'm not that big at all. Do you think grown-ups should be riding around in these too?
Absolutely. There's no excuse not to.
Kenny, there's only one problem, right?
What was that?
We're on this thing, and there's no one to turn it off. Does that mean we're on here for like forever?
Well, in theory, that could happen.
Well, to finish up this week's look back at some of the most inspirational characters we've met here on the Travel Show, we've dug deep into the archives to find a film from Addy back in 2015, where he met not just one, but a whole group of characters. They call themselves Skinflint, and they're one of the leading heavy metal bands from Botswana, which is not exactly a country known for its headbanging.
Out here in the beautiful wide plains of southern Africa, you really feel at one with nature. You hear the chirping of the swamp-faced boo-boo, the occasional cackling of a hyena. But hold on a sec, is that drums I can hear? Oh my days, that was amazing. Fantastic, fantastic.
Skinflint are one of Botswana's leading young heavy metal bands, preparing a final sound check before a local gig tonight. The trio have performed all over Africa and have taken their unique sounds as far as Europe.
We grew up with rock music, so we were always exposed to it, and we wanted to create a new style of music, something that could put Botswana on the map as well and make people realize that there's other genres of music in Botswana, not just, the typical genres.
The band creates what's been dubbed African metal by fusing elements of African culture with heavy metal music, and they have a big following.
This thing has been here for ages. I started listening to rock and roll when I was just a young boy. My life is dedicated to rock and roll.
Wow!
We have a unique way of playing this thing. We have the African metal and we have old school here.
They dress from head to toe in black leather. Some even have the ability to stop traffic.
That's how they classify me, the equalizer.
This is where Skinflint are going to be performing. It's in a suburb just outside of the capital, and it's called the Mapipi Bar. And judging by all the people here and the sounds that are coming from in there, it's going to be a wild night. Let's do it.
Despite their aggressive appearance, everybody I meet here is quite friendly. These gigs take place monthly all around Botswana, and newcomers like me are welcome.
It's like an expression, freedom of expression, power, independence. That's how I look at heavy metal.
As the band gets into its stride, the crowd begins to mosh. This is how some rock fans like to express themselves, but for me, it's definitely a first. Have it. And this isn't just about dressing the part. This is a new generation claiming heavy metal as their own.
People should maybe just open their eyes, not put Africa in a box like they always do, They only think that Africa is a certain way, we're poverty-ridden and there's a lot of negatives about it, but we're also very creative people. Even though it's not publicized much, there's a lot of talented musicians and artists in Africa, so I think Skinflint is an example of that.
Addy getting a taste for African metal there back in 2015. Well, I'm afraid that's all we have time for on this week's programme, but coming up next week, Carmen is back on the road in Japan. She'll be reporting on how the pandemic is affecting ceremonies to mark the 75th anniversary of the bombing of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That's next week, but in the meantime, from me, Krista Larwood, and the rest of the Travel Show team, it's goodbye.